Warning, this podcast contains spoilers. What's up, everyone, and welcome to the ASOTV podcast for Pretty Little Liars, Season 5, Episode 16, Over a Barrel. I'm your host, Dom. With me is my co-host, Heather.
Hey.
How's it going?
Still going.
Still going?
Same time that you asked me an hour ago, it's still going.
Energizer Bunny, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, we just did the originals an hour ago, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I did Supernatural right before that.
Yeah, so you're still good?
I'm still good. We're good. We can keep going.
Excellent.
We can do like 5 more if you want.
Oh.
Let's get caught up.
Let's just go watch some random shows and do podcasts on them.
Yes!
So, what'd you think of this episode?
I am still, like, super surprised and happy with everything that's going on. I mean, like, shit's starting to finally boil down, and it's doing amazing. It's really ramping up.
I'm in such a weird place with this show, because I was about ready to give up on this show.
Right.
At the end of the whole Ezra is a storyline. Like, it really was just getting on my nerves.
It was starting to wear on me too. It was, I mean, Nikki used to do the show with us, Omi, and she couldn't take it anymore. She walked away.
No, and then we had the beginning of the season, the first episode here was very, very different, whatever. And then it started going on this like little lull for a bit. And then all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, it just ramped back up. And it's been since they came back. It was, I don't want to say since they came back, but it was the episode before the mid-season break is when things really started to like take form.
Yeah, things are finally starting to just come to a head, and they're doing an amazing job at it.
Yeah, we have 6 episodes left this season?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we got 6 more weeks of the podcast, and then we go on like a 2 or 3 month break, and then the show comes back. So it's not gone for very long.
Season 6, and Season 6 is supposed to be the big season.
Yeah, and then there's going to be one more season after that.
One more.
We're going to learn who A is next season.
Yes.
Probably, I'm gonna say mid-season. I'm not even gonna say the end of the season. I'm gonna say mid-season.
They said that they're gonna try to do it as mid-season-ish. They definitely don't want to, because it's obviously what they're gonna do is they're going to do the big reveal finally halfway through the season, and then I want to say that the next season and a half, or at least season, is going to be taking care of that problem.
I think that they're going to take care of it at the end of next season. I think the last season is going to deal with the aftermath of that. That's what I think. It's going to be tying up all the loose ends and dealing with the aftermath. I think they're going to dispatch of A really quickly once they learn. Because once you know who it is, at least if it's us as fans, if we know who it is, it's a little different. But if they know who A is, then you can't carry that on forever.
No.
So... Anyway, so this episode, we learn a bit more about Emily and Paige.
This episode was a mess.
Yeah, I mean, last episode, Emily was talking about how she was going to fly out to see Paige for spring break and, all this stuff. And now we found out that Paige asked Emily for space. She said that's why she's not going down. Yep. So instead of Emily just giving her the space, she starts packing up all her things and sending them back. And it's not even like all her things, it's things that now she's gifted her.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We see her pack up the t-shirt that Paige gave her at the end of the episode.
Right.
So, I mean, do you think she's adequately giving Paige the space?
I think what Emily's doing is, Paige asked for space, Emily can be a little overbearing. She can be a little overbearing when it comes to her relationship. She's very, very involved in them. And she did have a very big freak out with Paige leaving. So I think Paige asking for space is just, hey, give me some time to get settled. Give me some time. Stop trying to run out here the moment I get here.
Right.
And Emily is taking it in the furthest possible way that she could, and it is just cutting it off.
Yeah.
Like, she's not really giving it a chance to see if it's a give me space so I can get settled, or if I said give me space so I can call this quits. She's not really
Right.
doing a lot. She's taking it how she's afraid it's going to happen.
See, and then I always have the issue with anytime somebody asks for space, you almost get the complete opposite, right? If you say you want space and then somebody starts packing up all your things and then they like bring you your things, that's just really an excuse for them to come see you. That's
Right.
what that is. And granted, Emily's so far away that she's not going to see Paige, but it's kind of gonna give Paige the same message. It's like I asked for space, not for you to start
Right.
doing all this stuff. Like this is just creating more tension, frustration, and memory, than anything. I don't want to deal with it. So I'm actually gonna side with Paige for once on this.
Right. Paige is trying to she got away. She got out. You know?
Good for her.
Now, I do want to ask you a question
Okay.
concerning Paige. Do you think Paige had something to do with Mona?
Certainly, in retrospect, now that you mention it,
Now that I mention it, you see, once you think about it.
it explains why she may
She
have
ran
wanted
so
to
fast.
leave so quickly.
Yes. Do you think she had something to do with Mona? I mean, she played both sides of that field. She played on
did.
Mona's side, and she played on the Pretty Little Liars side. She was that middleman. She was the mole. She was the rat. She thwarted Mona's plans. How many times she did it to the girls? There was some questionable things going on with the at the Christmas time with Paige. And Paige has always kept Emily very close.
It's true. It's true. I mean, you really can't rule anything out with this show.
Right.
So it's really hard to say. I would like Paige to be involved on some level, just to add an extra layer to that character, because she certainly needs the push, that's for sure. But when it comes down to it, I want to say no.
You want to say no because it's Paige.
Because I want it to be Hannah. So
It's down in the box.
yeah, we'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to it, but
Because I have a whole theory speculation going on down there.
excellent. So then, also at the beginning of the episode, Arya ends up buying a cup of coffee. The receipt prints out the entire letter that she wrote to the school to get into college. And then at the very end of the letter was an attached message in nice red ink that said, "This kind of lie will stay on your permanent record, A." So Arya seems to bitten off a little more than she could chew.
Yeah, that letter is really about to get her in trouble.
I mean, is it... in chat, where Cleo is saying that Dom is A.
Dom.
Can't rule anything out with this show.
Right.
The viewers at home are probably A.
There's somebody that they're going to bring in, like, last minute. And they're going to be like, oh, by the way, this is so-and-so, and they're A.
Marlene King is A.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I read an article earlier that Sarah Shepard, the actual writer of the books, actually has no idea what's going on at this point in the show.
that's crazy.
Yeah, I'm like, the writers have this locked down so hard.
That's actually pretty crazy.
I love it.
I do. So we get to see Pastor Ted.
Yay!
This episode, he's back from Peru. Hannah comes in, and then it's kind of like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
She kind of privately calls her mother out on Jason, but Ashley just doesn't want to talk about it.
Done. I'm still so done with that whole thing.
Even Ashley doesn't even know what she did, really. She can't even believe it.
She's trying very hard to pretend like it never happened.
Yeah.
And Hannah's like, no. This is Allison's brother. No.
Yeah, it's a little awkward.
It is, especially when you realize back in like the first season, he was like macking it up with Arya. And he's also related to Spencer. It's like
he was kind of trying to mac it up with Arya again this episode.
He was.
Right, because Arya got that mysterious text message, signed by H, which she's under the impression is Holbrook. the message basically says to stop looking for him, and, let's meet somewhere.
Right.
And when she shows up to meet, she bumps into Jason.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when they go out on their little lunch shindig, and he starts macking on her.
Yeah. Yeah, it's making him look very fishy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, very fishy. But at the same time, it's almost too obvious for this show. Like, they're trying to distract us with this Jason thing and making him look all bleh. And I'm like,
Yep. So then Arya ends up taking, during the conversation with Jason, right, mm-hmm. she gets another message from H. Mm-hmm. And then, after she ends that little lunch date with Jason, unofficial date, it's not a real date. Yeah. She goes and meets in front of a flower shop. Some lady comes running out with flowers, and she's like, "You got to go deliver these." And it ends up being to Hannah's house, for Mrs. De Laurentiis.
Yeah.
And they're supposedly from Jason, which is definitely not the case. I think Jason would have said something. Mm-hmm. Jason would have fessed up. So, who do you think the flowers are from?
You know who I think the flowers are from.
If I did, I wouldn't ask you.
It's on there. It's on there. Can we go into that conversation?
That's what I'm asking.
Okay. Obviously, I think they're from A. But I'm starting to question if maybe Hannah sent them and that Hannah was H. And that the last minute she chickened out. Because she does honestly like Ted. She really does. She wants her mom to be with Ted. That also raises the question is Hannah A?
I'm hoping. I'm really hoping. Hannah is my favorite character on this show. Outside of evil Ezra.
Yeah.
I love
Evil Ezra was amazing.
He was amazing.
Now he's boring. But this whole Hannah thing is just, it's amazing. And I would love it so much.
It would be good. It would be good. Hannah is probably the least suspicious from the casual viewers watching.
It's like if you look at her, she got accepted into how many colleges? She wouldn't even say.
She wouldn't even talk about it.
But in this episode the other night, she looks at Spencer and goes, "What's that saying about the rat in the corner?" I'm starting to think that she really isn't as dumb as she's playing.
No. This goes back to the gaze bow and keeping your
geese in a row.
Yeah.
She says this stupid shit. And she looks like your typical dumbass. But this is also Mona's best friend. I'm going to skip ahead just a little bit. The laptop was hacked very easily.
Yeah.
Who knows Mona better than to hack her laptop?
Right. And not only that, but we also end up finding out that the storage house in the first place is registered in Hannah's name.
That's down in the... Yeah, I think I have that in there. But, yeah. And so, the look on her face when Caleb tells her... Like, first off, the look on Caleb's face when he walks past her before he tells her is kind of fishy.
Yeah.
The look on her face, like she just had this, oh, I don't care look, but there was a slight panic to it. She didn't react like I would have thought something. Like, I would have been like, oh, blah, 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 what the fuck, But she's just like, oh, well, looks like I'm being targeted, ha ha. It's the same thing like whenever Arya brought in the flowers. The first thing she says is, I did this. And then she's like, I went and saw Allie, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, like...
Quickly cover it up. Now, that could have been taken either way.
It certainly could have. And it's just... Hannah really is covering all her bases, when you think about it. You know, why did she go see Holbrook alone? Why didn't she take the rest of
Right.
the girls with her,
Right.
you
She
know?
didn't even tell them until afterwards.
Right. It
I mean,
raises a lot
I
of
love it.
questions.
I love the fan. It's been a fan theory a lot the past season. I've been shipping it the entire time.
I mean, I think I remember seeing it start last season, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it really picked up this season though.
And if that's the case, for all we know, the writers could be paying attention to that and writing into it to lead us astray in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, they did that with Ezra. They played on a lot of people's heartstrings with Ezra, and for people were convinced he was on A Team, and I defended him the whole time. I said no, he's just shady as fuck, but I I did prefer shady Ezra over nice guy Ezra. That's for sure.
It was fun seeing him that way. I mean, I don't really like the spin on what's going on with Ezra in this season with the whole, oh, I was a teacher, now I'm owning a bookstore / coffee shop and being boring. And I'm like,
yeah, and let's hire two people that are complete rivals with each other and then seem completely oblivious to it. I don't know. There's a lot of tension between those girls.
I love it. I love my I have a theory for them too.
What's your theory?
Oh, you want to talk about her?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Okay, so she's very obviously stepping on Emily's toes. Emily is at wit's end with everything.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't know what to do with the Paige situation. She's still not really liking the idea that she has to share the brew now with another woman.
Right.
You know, she's having a lot of problems with this. There's a lot of tension building up. She showed a glimmer.
Code.
Right. She showed a glimmer of maybe getting along with this girl last episode, but the tension was right back this episode. I don't know her name. I keep meaning to look it up. So I just call her that girl, the cook girl.
That girl. That's her name. That girl.
The cook girl. I think she's on to Emily being a lesbian. I think she's on to it because the way she's kind of like, she said something about her dress code, and Emily was like, the hell's your problem? You know, one thought at a time. Emily isn't taking to this change, and this girl is pushing these buttons.
I mean, she's very intelligent, too, because she picked up on the fact that that was the shirt from an ex.
Shirt. And, you know, at the end of that episode, this girl's standing next to Emily, and she's like, yes, after commenting on how casual looks good on her, she nonchalantly calls out Emily by going, let me ask you a question that doesn't pertain to work. And Emily's like, okay, what do you think of Boss Man's butt?
Yeah.
And Emily's just kind of like, yeah, awkward, you know? I mean, yeah, it's awkward because that's your best friend's boyfriend, but also never looked at it that way.
That's very true.
And I think that this might eventually, I think this new girl is poking to see if that's the case before she makes a move.
That very well could be.
I would love to see these two.
That's what I was thinking for I forgot about it now, but that's what I was thinking at the time when she was talking about checking out Ezra's ass. But I was just like, because we had discussed last week if they were going to end up hooking up. And so I had that in the back of my mind while watching this episode. So I think it's going to happen.
I saw it. Like, you can see it. They've kind of got this, like, little rivalry kind of, like, I'm going to push your buttons, you push mine back thing going. They're definitely towing lines and pushing boundaries with each other. I don't think Emily's meaning to do it as much as this other girl is, but I would like to see kind of this fun bickering love interest build between the two of them.
Yeah. I think it's going to end up, something is going to happen between them, but then right when things are going to get started and things are getting hot and heavy, that's when Paige is going to come back. Yes,
I agree. And that's when Paige comes out and is like, I didn't mean that kind of space.
Yeah. Yep. So, but we had talked about Pastor Ted earlier in the episode. Pastor Ted pulls Hannah aside And he's like, look, I want to pop the question to your mom tonight at dinner. Make sure you're there.
Asks for her permission.
Right. That was rather cool of him.
Yeah, like all the feels right there. Like Pastor Ted has all the feels for me. I love his character. I wish he was more involved.
Yeah. But then when Hannah tried to talk to her mom privately. She never got the chance to. Her mom kept avoiding her, through the whole thing. Hannah's really kind of upset about her fling with Jason. Mm-hmm. And she tries to tell her about Pastor Ted, but her mother just kind of pushes her away.
Mm-hmm. Her mom's doing a lot of that.
Yeah. So I think there's a bit more going on with her than we realize. Yeah. But then we get to the dinner just in time for them to start clearing the places. Pastor Ted comes over with a giant peanut butter cookie, which was the first dessert that they ever shared together. And Ring pops out and he proposes to her on the spot. Yeah. Ashley kind of like freezes up. She doesn't know what to say. She's just like, I need a minute to think. And she never came back.
Yeah.
So.
Very, very intense moment.
Yeah. So, do you think she's going to end up telling Ted what happened now?
It looks like she's starting to realize that she needs to face it. I mean, at the end of the episode, she's like, he's a really good guy. And she sits down and she's like, he deserves to know, I think she's starting to realize that she needs to tell him, hey, I fucked up bad, Yeah. But I think she's scared that if she tells him that she's going to lose him.
Yeah. Yep. We saw when Jason and Arya were actually talking, they were talking about speaking to Allie. Mm-hmm. And they kind of go into, this whole discussion about whether or not Mona had any help. Or Allie had any help.
Yeah, with Mona.
Yeah. And Arya's kind of under the impression, I think that's what we kind of all think.
Right.
And then they start mentioning Holbrook. And Jason's like, yeah, I could see that, but Jason's like, I think Allie probably cut him loose by now. Mm-hmm. Because there's really nothing else that he could do for her.
Right.
Do you think this whole time Holbrook is in fact working with her? Do you think he's been either by choice or by force? Or do you think it's just coincidence?
I think there's something going on there. I mean, look at when they did Jenna and Garrett. Mm-hmm. It was the exact same situation. And that's back when they were making Jenna look like A.
Right.
They're kind of doing the same thing. Garrett went missing, ended up dead. Mm-hmm. Holbrook's now missing, nobody can find him. Cop with a school student, who's very, very involved in the Rosewood scandals. It's kind of almost the exact same thing as the Garrett and Jenna thing, and that turned out to be absolutely nothing.
Right. I have my whole theory on Holbrook, which I'll get into in a minute, but I do want to talk about Spencer and Caleb going to track down the laptop themselves. Mm-hmm. They found out, which we later find out that storage room is in fact registered to Hannah, as we mentioned. Mm-hmm. But on the way in, Spencer and Caleb run into one of Spencer's old teachers, which reveals some kind of smell that's been coming from the storage locker.
In question.
Right. The one that is like some super padlock on it that they can't even cut with bolt cutters. It's, it's weird. Something big's got to be hidden in there. Mm-hmm. So they decide that they're going to go into her locker, which is not very secure, and break in through the air ducts. And so Caleb starts climbing through all the air ducts. They get in. They find the laptop. They find some evidence bags. They find bloody clothes. And then they find a hazmat suit, which they mistook for a person at first. And then this barrel. They're convinced that Mona's in the barrel. I think that's where Holbrook is.
Yeah, I think it's Holbrook.
Yeah.
I agree with you completely. I think Holbrook is in that barrel.
Yep. I think somebody kidnapped Holbrook while he had some of this evidence on him. That's how they got the laptop. That's how they got the bags of bloody clothing, the evidence bags.
They're like, well, Mona's not very big. Well, you know what? It's not hard to bend some bones and break up, and if they're turning it to sludge.
Yes. I don't think it's preserved. I think they're sludging it up.
Yep.
I mean, they very well could have accidentally messed up the sludge and preserved it.
It kind of falls into play with the teddy bear that Hannah found in her car.
Yeah.
Because when she pulled the string, the guts fell out.
Yep.
So it kind of goes together in this weird, because Hannah found that this tank is in Hannah's name. Hannah's been the one chasing down Holbrook.
Yep.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you.
I mean, it's really weird how the laptop in the first place was triggered to text all the girls.
Right.
From Mona's phone. And I don't see why Hannah would do that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's clearly something Mona had in place.
Yeah.
And I think...
And as Caleb said when he was looking at it, he's like, this is from a security breach. And it wasn't set up to alert the police. It was set up to go to you four girls. Mona's stuff is usually pretty locked up pretty tight. So she did this on purpose, or this person knows what they're doing.
Right.
And Hannah this entire time has this kind of nonchalant, oh, by the way, she's still in that whole I don't care mindset that she got with the Allie thing.
Mm-hmm.
And Emily's just non-existent. She has nothing to do with anything right now.
Yep. We made a new character this episode.
Well, we met him last. We met
him, but
Briefly.
we actually got some background and stuff about him.
I don't know his name either.
He's the painter that moved in, into the guest house. But yeah, he's acting really weird. He comes into the house. He starts digging through the trash can.
Really weird.
He's super eccentric.
He is. I like him. I like him.
He's cool. He's definitely cool, and I think it's going to cause some friction with Toby. Mm-hmm. Because he's kind of been avoiding Toby for the reason of him being a cop. He seems really freaked out that Toby's a cop. He keeps calling him the cop, and
cop boyfriend.
Yeah, so he's really stressing that fact. So it seems like he's paranoid about cops. So don't know. But he starts telling, Spencer all these stories about how he didn't go to college, and he's trying to have her understand that college doesn't necessarily have to shape her future. She can do whatever she wants. Whatever. Because this whole episode, Spencer's been kind of concerned. She's been like, Allie's been playing me this whole time. Like, she's behind bars and she's still deciding my future. She's deciding where I go to college.
Right.
I only put those letters in because I was trying to get away from her.
Right.
So. And then Toby's like, you know what? I don't know if I could deal with us being apart. And then Spencer's like, well, you could come with me. So.
And there was a glimmer there of their normality, and then. That was it.
Yeah.
That was it.
But I feel like Spencer and Toby are drifting apart.
Yep. As I said, do you think that they're going to be this season's Ezria?
He's getting more and more aggravated at Spencer and Caleb and basically all the girls. He's worried for them. He's concerned. I understand, where he's coming from.
Cop.
But he's completely changing his stances on everything since he became a cop.
Becoming a cop. That's what it is. He is becoming a cop.
Yeah. So, I don't see them lasting.
I don't.
And maybe this new guy is good for Spencer. Maybe that's what she needs. I mean, they sat down and, they had a nice conversation,
Yeah.
Something her and Toby don't get to do. Even Toby was like, I miss this. They were playing Scrabble. Yeah. So, you could tell that their relationship just hasn't quite been where it's been at. And little things like a board game is the highlight of Toby's, day, year, week with her, whatever, month.
Mm-hmm.
So you could tell there's definitely been a strain on that relationship.
Yeah. I think that this new guy, he's not really a kid. I think he's going to be the nail in the coffin for Spencer. I don't think she's going to go to college.
Yeah.
I think she's going to be that one Hastings that says no.
Yeah, she'll be very different from her family. Yeah.
I'm going to change everything. I'm going to break the mold of the Hastings name.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you saw it. She has such interest in the artwork and in Italy and learning all of this stuff. And, like, this is the most genuine, normal emotion we've seen out of Spencer since seasons ago.
Yeah.
She finally put the phone down.
Yep. Yeah, and then, it's not only her, but Arya getting into college, too. Like, she needs to come clean with Ezra sooner than later, because if Ezra finds out through A, that's not going to be good. It's not going to be good at all. And I don't know if you've noticed, but it seems like this season, every relationship is going through a strain.
I mean, Caleb and Hannah aren't even spending that much time together.
No, they've been distant. If Arya doesn't come clean soon, that's going to be bad.
Yeah.
She's
trying. She tried a couple of times. She should have picked up the phone the rest of the way and called them, but...
Yep. Obviously Emily and Paige, and now Spencer and Toby. Everybody is having, Mona and Mike. Yeah. Couldn't think of his name for a second. Mona and Mike. Every relationship here, even Allie and Holbrook, if that's the thing, like, even that, it's been going under some strain, so that seems to be the running theme of this season right now. It's, relationships are no good. Stay away from them.
Yeah, apparently, like.
But yeah, like you mentioned, Caleb and Hannah, but after Caleb, finds out about the fact that the place is registered in Hannah's name, the neighbor, the teacher, whatever, that was next door, whatever, mentioned that a blonde had been coming by. Are they pinning that on Hannah?
Yeah, like that's the other thing with the whole Hannah theory, is that all we're ever getting is blonde, 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 blonde.
When you say blonde, you instantly think of Allie and Cece.
Right.
But
right.
It very well
Hannah's
could be
there
Hannah.
Too, you know? And if you think back to when Mona got her ass kicked, look at how Hannah acted beforehand.
Yeah.
Who's to say that she didn't open the door? Who's to say Mona didn't find out it was Hannah?
It's very true.
And because that blonde could have been Hannah. Hannah hadn't cut her hair yet. Yes, she did.
Yeah, the hair was too curly for... it looked like Cece to me.
Yeah.
I'm almost willing to bet it was Cece, but could have been a wig too. We don't know.
Could have been a wig. We've seen people wear wigs on this show before. Wigs and masks and black swan costumes.
Yeah. I think that's about it. You have anything else for this episode?
No.
I think we covered everything. And now a cat emerges.
That's my kitty.
Yep. Next week, the episode is called The Bin of Sin. So it looks like we're going to find out what's in that barrel. Suspecting that Allison/A is out to frame her... Suspecting that Allison A is out to frame her for Mona's murder, Hannah is not willing to just sit by and let it happen. When Caleb and her friends try to come up with a safe plan to get Hannah off the hook, it isn't good enough for her. Taking her fate into her own hands, Hannah strikes out alone to clear her name. Meanwhile, relationships are tested when Arya comes clean to Ezra, and Spencer's shady actions continue to put Toby in a bind at work. So... basically what we said, the relationship is all going to shit. Everything.
Yeah, everything.
And looks like we may just find out what's in the barrel.
I really hope it's Holbrook. Like, I would be
too.
ecstatic. I would be so happy.
And jump for joy. I'm going to be like, we called it!
We called something! We got something right on this show!
So,
it's really hard to get theories right on this show.
It is. They blindside us every chance we get.
They do, and they do it every time. You know, there's been so many times we've been absolutely positive of something, and left field out of nowhere just takes it. And
it's because of that fullback lacrosse player.
I know. Like, it's terrible. Can't ever, like, we just cannot win.
And the mascot, which is the dog.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Like, we can't win with this show. So if it's Holbrook, we're gonna take our one win and run.
No, I'm gonna. I don't want to change my answer because I still think it's Holbrook. But what would be even better to be in the barrel is Arya's ex-boyfriend.
The
kickboxing dude.
Kickboxing dude.
Yeah.
With a lacrosse stick.
Yep. They're all in there together. The dog, the lacrosse stick.
All the answers in one. All the answers in one.
Yeah. Heather, where can the people find you?
Online, everywhere, anywhere. Chronixia.
Excellent. You can find me down below at Phenomenon, PHENOMEDOM. And you can find us here live next week on ASOTV Podcast on YouTube. You can also find us on Twitter, Facebook, Gmail, G+. Space. Yeah, and like I said, right here on YouTube.
You can do it. You
can finish. ASOTV Podcast for some more podcasts for some of your favorite TV shows.
You got this, Dom. Come on.
Until next week. See you guys later. Ay.
I'm not saying anything crazy this time.
No?
No.
Why not?
I don't have anything. Like, I don't have nothing. I've got nothing. There you go. Choo-choo.